Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Our guest today is Brian Moncada from adspend.com, founder of adspend.com. How's it going, Brian?
Dude, thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Appreciate you for bringing me on.
Absolutely. I saw your tweet about Colombia a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, I got to have this guy on the podcast. So you're calling in from Colombia right now?
Yeah, Medellín, Colombia.
And we were just kind of talking a little bit offline about kind of the US versus Colombia. Is that kind of the idea? You were living in Florida, now you're kind of based up in Medellín. Tell us a little bit more about kind of your digital nomad expat journey.
Yeah, so prior to moving here, my wife and I were in Miami for a year. We had our daughter there recently. She's now 8 months. And that was the catalyst that made us want to move to Medellín because we were paying a lot of money just to live our lives, how we would normally live. Thankfully, my business has done pretty well. So we were able to afford everything that we needed, good quality foods, everything. And then when we just looked at the opportunity we had in Medellín, knowing that my wife's from Bogota originally, so she's a citizen, I just saw the opportunity for dual citizenship for not only us as a family, but also myself as well. And that made sense to do it. And so, yeah, we're paying obviously way cheaper now to live here with way better quality of life. And we've been here since November. And we love it. And I'm in process of getting my visa and hopefully citizenship soon. So yeah, Miami's great. We love it. The beach is obviously amazing. That's the one thing that Medellín doesn't have here. But looking back, yeah, that was the big catalyst. So I hope that answered the question.
Totally. And just for housekeeping, Moncada sounds a little bit Latin to me. What's your background?
Yeah, so my family's from Texas, the Mexico-Texas border. And I have a lot of family that is part Native American as well, and Hispanic. So Mexican Native American basically is my ancestry, my heritage. And yeah, I grew up basically not speaking Spanish. We spoke broken Spanish. My family did, but yeah, everybody is from Texas. Then we moved to Arizona, and then my wife and I moved to Miami. So all my family is basically still in Texas.
Got it. So you've had to adapt from kind of Mexican Spanish to Colombian Spanish.
Completely different. Yeah, that's the one thing you realize as you start traveling more is how even the Spanishes you speak are obviously different depending on where you are. So yeah, Colombian Spanish is definitely different words. They frown upon some words that you say in Mexican Spanish here, which is very interesting. So yeah, it's been a good adjustment.
And just another housekeeping, I was just curious, adspend.com is a pretty damn good domain name. How did you get that?
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was almost 10 years ago now. I was working for my former mentor, doing digital marketing for his brands and businesses, learning YouTube ads, which is what I've been doing the last 7 years. And I knew I wanted to start my own agency eventually. So I was wondering what I was going to call my company. I started my company because I was inspired by the TV show Mad Men. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So Don Draper, obviously, I was like, I want to do what he does, get paid how much he's getting paid, and like live his life. And so that's what planted the seed in my head to start doing marketing and advertising eventually. When I was thinking about the company name for what I wanted to do, I tried to get the domain admen.com, ADMEN.com, but that was already an advertising agency in New York City. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't do that. And then the name ad spend came to me because that's what obviously we do all day. We spend money on ads. And so I was like, I wonder if that's taken. I looked on GoDaddy and it wasn't. And there was a contact number to reach out to them to see if I can get information about the domain. So I hit up that email and they replied and they said, yeah, the seller would be looking to sell the domain for $25,000. And at that time, I didn't have that money. I was still working my full-time job with my former mentor. And I was like, I'm not dropping $25K on a domain. And so then I didn't do it, but I got the license plate on my car in Arizona for like a year. And that was like cool. And then a year later, COVID happened. COVID shut the world down, 2020 now. Everyone's stuck at home. And I just quit my job to go full-time into my company. And so I looked at the domain again. I was like, I wonder if they're still selling it. And they were. And I reached out from a different email this time. And I asked them how much it would be. And they said $15,000. So there was a 10K discount. But I still didn't want to pay $15K. So I negotiated with them for like the next 3 days. It was like a 30 thread email. And they eventually sent me a link for like $5,000. Like, this is going to expire in 24 hours. You can take it or leave it. It's your choice. Even then I was like, 5K is a lot of money. So, but I paid the 5K, and 7 years later, here we are.
Yeah, that's definitely worth more than 5K, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Dope. So I think one of the cool things about having you on the podcast is your observations are very fresh. Like, for someone that's been in Latin America for 5+ years, you almost kind of forget what it's like in those first 6 months. So yeah. I think that's what the opportunity that we have on this podcast is pretty cool. Is like you have all this stuff kind of top of mind, like, being able to compare Florida versus Colombia and so forth. And so before we get into it, I just want to read out one of your tweets that went viral and caught my attention. If we had, this is an audio only podcast, so I just have to read it out. So basically it says, I used to pay $7,500 month rent. I'm fucking it up. I used to pay $7,500 per month just for rent in Miami. Now we pay $7,500 per month to live like a king in Medellín. Nanny, chef, boxing 3 times a week, Pilates for my wife, classes for our daughter, studio to film content and do podcasts, walkable city, and we Uber everywhere. Quality of life, king wins. So yeah. Tell me a bit about that. You want to elaborate on that?
Well, that's the whole reason we moved. 2 years ago, when we were living in Miami back then as well, we took a 90-day trip to Medellín. And because I visited here before with my wife, we went to Bogota, we went to Cartagena, we went to Medellín. And it was the 90-day trip where I was like, man, we should live here. And I told my wife this like 2 or 3 years ago, because I saw how much more we could afford and how much better quality of life we had. More importantly, how much peace we had as well. And at that time, we didn't agree on doing it because we were living in Miami, right? And she's from Colombia. So she's like, why would I want to go back to Colombia at that time? Well, obviously, when you have a kid, that changes things too, because you realize like how much work a kid actually is to raise, especially for the mom, right? So when we were in Miami, right, we were fully taken care of. Like, we weren't really worried about money. Like, we were paying everything and we had money left over, obviously, thanks to my business. But it was also just stressful. Like, my parents were 10 minutes away. So thankfully I had them there, but we also don't want them coming over every day to like help us and like feel like we're needy. And like, they also should just be enjoying their first grandchild, right? So it was a combination of, okay, let's just look at the logistics here. Let's just do the math. For the same price we're paying in Miami for rent, 2-bedroom with a den in Aventura, Sunny Isles, like one of the nicest places you can live in Florida, like away from Miami, like Brickell, all that, where it's a nice community, family oriented, 5 minutes away from the mall. Great. But we're very isolated as well. All we have is my parents that are 10 minutes away. We're raising this new child and we're paying $7,500 a month just for rent. The building's nice. We're on the water. Cool. But that same price for rent alone now, like that tweet says, pays for everything. And we have way more. We have a full-time chef. We have a nanny that helps my wife out so she can go be a wife. She can go be a girl again. She can go be a mom again. She can go be a woman. She can go exercise and not have to worry about being with our daughter right there. Like, and she can go take care of herself. So we have way more for the same price we were paying for rent. And so not only are we stacking more cash, we're also able to invest more, which means we can retire earlier. So, and we also get to travel. And it just, that was the reason why I tweeted that. I was in an Uber when I was tweeting that. I was like in an Uber getting back from boxing, just realizing how much, how amazing this quality of life is right now. I just got done boxing midday. My business is online. I'm going to come home now to freshly prepared lunch. I don't have to worry about anything. It's like, that's invaluable. So for that reason is why I tweeted that. And for that reason is why I wanted to share with other people, like, holy crap, like if you're stressed out, you don't have to be, because you can make a decision to change and move and go somewhere that gives you a better quality of life as well. And maybe it might be better than what you're currently experiencing right now. Does that make sense? It does.
Where do you feel like the stress came from? Just the financial pressure, or do you think it was other factors as well?
It was everything. It was new dad for the first time, right? Business was also misaligned with what we were doing. I was very much in a season of like, okay, this doesn't seem like it's going the right direction that I feel internally. So I need a pivot as well. So that also was like, okay, that also made the move more considerable. But it was also just the lack of sleep. I mean, like when you have a newborn baby, you're not getting much sleep. You're not, and it's just you and your wife all day long, and you're taking care of the baby, and that's great. But you just want to sleep a little bit more. You have more stress from the lack of sleep, plus the business, plus everything. And so, the three things I wrote on my whiteboard at the time, end of 2024, heading into 2025, was I want more peace, more profit, more purpose. And so it was a great reset. It was a good opportunity for us to reset and get more connected back to nature, back to spending time again with each other. And since we've been here in November, like we wake up, we take walks here in the city every single morning. I play with my daughter for at least like an hour or two before doing any work or even opening my laptop or phone. It's just so much more peaceful. But it was specifically chosen for that reason. So that's what created the stress. It was a bunch of the factors related to being a new dad, plus the business, plus also just the what was happening in the world, and it caused us to want to change.
And are you finding that Medellin's a little bit more family friendly, or is it really like the nanny the big unlock, or or what is it?
It's the nanny, it's the chef. It is family friendly. Colombians love kids, like they love kids. Every time we've been around traveling here, we've always gotten offered to ask, like, do we need help? And like the Colombians, like especially the older Colombians, they'll love to like entertain our daughter, if she's like maybe, active, right? They're much more friendly when it comes to kids. It's not like a burden, like when you're in the States, sometimes and you're traveling, like a kid cries, it's an annoying thing, right? But here it's like been so much easier to travel with kids. But the nanny was the big unlock. The chef was the big unlock. And dude, I mean, we're also just like investing way more. And I'm not I'm going to be able to choose to work very soon versus like need to work, which is pretty cool. And that's just, again, by just geo arbitraging our life. We moved 3 hours. We're saving more money and using that savings to invest more. We're also getting to travel more too. So we're also getting to experience life. So it was the big unlock of being able to travel, have help with the baby, not have to worry about food, and living in a walkable city. Miami is not walkable, right? Like where we were, Aventura. Now we can walk everywhere. I can take an Uber to boxing. I can go to the restaurant. My wife can go to Pilates. It's just way more accessible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little hilly Medellin, but yeah, definitely still walkable.
Which I like though in the mornings because it's like a good workout. It gets the heart rate up first thing in the morning.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think nanny and chef is interesting to have both. So you have like multiple people kind of at the same time in the house, or how does that work?
It gets hectic. On Wednesdays, it's hectic in here. We got a whole village here. It's me, my wife, our daughter. We got the chef cooking, and we're in an Airbnb right now while we're finding a longer term lease. So it's a 2-bedroom, but the living room and the kitchen are right next to each other. So like the nanny's in the living room with our daughter, and then the chef's in the kitchen preparing right next to them. And then the cleaner comes on Wednesdays once a week to clean. And so they're all like next to each other navigating. And I'm in the room on the very far end, like working. It's a village for sure, but it's like what they say, it takes the village to raise a kid. And it feels cool because we have our own little like family here, our own little village. And the nanny and the chef get along great. The cleaner comes once a week. She's friends with the chef. She's known her for a long time. And they love our daughter, like me as a celebrity here, especially with the building that we live at. Like all the security loves me, loves our daughter. They love seeing her. They always say hi to her. She's like famous in the building. So it's just been a beautiful transition for us. And yeah, like I said, my wife and I have more time for ourselves. We have more time to be with our daughter as well. It's been great.
Now, I know a lot of people ask, like, where do you find the nanny? How much should you pay? If you're paying them minimum wage, they're probably not a good nanny and they're going to rob you or something. I see comments like this on Twitter quite a bit. How did you find your nanny and chef, and what recommendations do you have?
Yeah, so luckily my wife handled a lot of the logistics, but it actually wasn't that hard. All she did was research the top nanny companies in Colombia, right? Based off
Hmm.
their actual reviews. And she
Okay.
narrowed it down to three different nanny companies. She interviewed all three of them, right? And so she got a better feel for which one made the most sense with our needs. And we also didn't really know what we wanted either. We were trying to, it's the first time ever hiring a nanny. Like, what do we need? How many hours? How long do they need to be working? We didn't know any of these things, but when we looked at our schedule, we're like, okay, well, we don't want her around all day because we want to spend time with our daughter, obviously, but we need her around for at least 3, 4, maybe 5 hours. So that way she can go to do her errands. My wife can go exercise. So anyways, she interviewed three of the top nanny companies online based off reviews. She interviewed all three of them. And then based off the interview, they then referred her to nannies within their company that are contracted by them that fit our ideal hours and our ideal wants and our ideal experience. And then we tried one, we hired one, and that one worked out decently. And now we have a second one who's even better based off the first experience, hired by the same nanny company. So it wasn't that hard. That the company that does it for a living, obviously, for a reason. And you
Hmm.
just got to trust as well. It's like, thankfully, it obviously helps to speak Spanish. I speak pretty good Spanish as well. My wife is obviously fluent, but there's plenty of expats here as well that have families that I've met since being here in November. And there are resources here if you just want to do a little actual research and not assume. And also it's just trusting too, like trusting that humans are actually good and people are actually want to care about their
Hmm.
job and that they're not out to harm you. Because yeah, like maybe trusting a nanny in Colombia to somebody hearing this right now is like, I would never do that. It's like, okay, well, then you're going to be very limited and severely restricted to what you can and can't do.
Well,
So
no,
it's very easy.
that's good that you did a company. I mean, I actually almost never thought of that because every time we've done it, we would just be like, "Oye, conoces a una señora?" and like just like
Oh yeah,
find and
Niñera. Yeah,
just
like just find
yeah,
someone word of mouth.
yeah, just be like, "Does anyone know like sort of like a out of work like 50-year-old señora that like
Yeah,
wants to like cook for us?" That's kind of
yeah,
how we've always done it. So that's kind of interesting to use a company. That's probably smarter.
yeah. Same thing with the chef as well. Thankfully, the Airbnb company that we're in right now, they recommended the chef to us, and so it worked out, right? And yeah, I think it just takes a little bit of research, but I mean, it's been great for us. Nanny company, third party company for the chef, and they all get along.
And people like getting in the details, like how much do you pay or whatever?
Yeah,
Is it per hour or per week?
yeah. So I believe it's a fixed rate based off what my wife and them negotiated, but the nanny is about, I want to say 600, maybe 630 a month. And
Dollars.
that's US, yeah, US
Okay.
dollars,
Uh-huh.
630 a month. And that's from basically 9 to about 2 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. She doesn't come on Saturdays or Sundays. And then she does have holidays off as well because there's a lot of holidays in Colombia. So the
Yeah.
holidays she'll be off. But the chef is Monday through Saturday, and she's there from about 9 to 2 as well. She'll cook breakfast, she'll cook lunch, and then she'll cook more during lunch for dinner later on, and then she'll leave. And the chef is about 600 as well, 630 as well. It's about the same price for both, actually.
Okay. So let's do the math.
Um,
So 630 divided by how many working days is that? Like 20-ish, 22 divided by
yeah,
five. So it's like something like 5, $6 an hour, something like that.
yeah, exactly. I think that my wife's like, yeah, it's about $7 an hour, let's say, just to max it out.
Yeah. So just to give people an idea that are listening to this, because Brian, a lot of people might want to follow in your footsteps, and that might be why they're listening to this. So
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's like again, $1,200, $1,300 for all your food cooked for you, someone to help you with your kids if you want to go exercise, to go out for errands, to whatever, right? Okay, cool. Think about the ROI on that is for you and for your family, for your peace.
Mhm. Yeah, or it could even for people who don't know Spanish, it could also be Spanish lessons for like $6, $7 an
Exactly.
hour.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's switch gears slightly to a bit more of the sovereignty angle. You had some really good ideas when we were talking offline. Like I really like the way saying things about kind of how things are going. You use this term, what was it? The fourth turning, the fourth coming?
The fourth turning, yeah.
Fourth turning. What is that?
Yeah, so it basically is a theory that every 80 to 90 years, basically the average age of a person, civilization changes and societies collapse and new societies form, right? And there's it's a book called The Fourth Turning. And it's very popular in the Bitcoin space specifically because of what's happening right now in the Western civilization in general, right? So there's this new professor popping up on YouTube. His name's like Professor Jing. I just watched his videos like the last week. I discovered him, and his videos are really good on YouTube. Okay. But basically, he's talking about this, and he's in China teaching a high school students in China, like basically in English in China, that this is happening in Western civilization right now. And so basically, what it talks about is, yeah, I mean, like if you look at it over the last 100 years, like America and Canada and Europe and these places have been the leading society, the leading civilization. But what's happening is, because society is sort of collapsing in real time with mass immigration, massive debt and inflation, and civil unrest in not just the United States, but in Canada, in Europe, in London, in all these different Western civilization and different countries, what we're seeing is a change happening basically in terms of where the next basically regime will be. And is it going to be in the Western hemisphere? And so the reason why I was bringing that up to you earlier and why it's so interesting is because as I was talking to my wife about this week, it made us realize how much freedom we actually have being able to travel and be borderless, be global citizens essentially, and how most people still don't realize that they can do this yet. They still believe that they're trapped in their local country, or they should stay in their local country for the most opportunities or the best way of life for their family. And I'm not saying the U.S. is obviously bad or anything. Like, I'm obviously from the U.S. I'm a United States citizen. I was born in Texas, moved to Arizona, grew up in Arizona, like obviously lived in Miami. I love Miami. I love going back to the United States. But the quality of life and what you can get outside of the U.S. is obviously something that any country wouldn't want you to really experience, because then you have options and then you don't have to stay in one spot. Then you don't have to pay taxes in one spot. And so the fourth turning basically talks about how right now what we're experiencing is probably the collapse of the Western civilization, potentially, and how that's why you're seeing people start migrating to countries like Dubai, countries like Malaysia, countries like Singapore, countries like Hong Kong, for example, Asia in general. Does that make sense so far? It
does, yeah. I found the channel too. It's like JIANG.
He's great, dude. You got to watch his entire hour-long. It's episode. It's like lecture number 1. It's called "How Power Works." And bro, okay. that YouTube video, you watch that, you sit like you're actually gonna want to sit. You're gonna start listening to it if you're listening to it on audio. Whoever's listening to this, but then you're gonna want to watch it on YouTube and pay attention to it for the full hour. That's how good it is, because it's literally describing what's happening today. And it's crazy because this guy's in China. There's a Chinese flag behind him. And he's teaching a class of Chinese high schoolers what's happening to them and us, like non-biased. Like, this is just how the world's happening right now. And you can see the kids, like their reactions. They're just so programmed to believe these certain things, like most of us were. And he's teaching them how to think. And it's crazy. It's really good.
Listen to this today. I found it on Spotify too. Is audio okay?
YouTube, man. You got to do YouTube. Go to YouTube. Watch it on YouTube. You're going to want to.
Damn, it's like I can't even multitask.
No, it's worth actually watching and having focus and attention for sure. But he describes it best, and he uses China as an example. Obviously, he uses US as an example. He uses Canada as an example. And this topic really interests me because I believe right now, again, like he says it in the video, but we've programmed God. Like, society's programmed God to be money to us. Money is everything. Therefore, everything that we do is based off of money. Therefore, God is our money, right? Our money is our God. And he describes that perfectly, because everything that we do every single day is based off making more money. But money isn't real. They've inflated the currency. They can print more money. And he describes how central banking works and how the elites are the ones that control central banking. Like, power comes from central banking. So these are all crazy concepts, obviously, but it's like, when you really look at it, it actually makes sense. They control the economy, therefore they can artificially manipulate crises to make you work harder to attain more money, which then causes you anxiousness and stress, which keeps you trapped in the system. Because if you go outside the system, then you're free, then you're not controlled by money. That's why you can see my hair is getting longer. And they can't see it audio, but my hair is getting longer because waking up. I'm waking up to these things.
Yeah. Just don't do a man bun, but
no. That's the one agreement I had to myself too. No man bun.
But no, I actually like it because I see you on the adspend.com with it's like full nerd mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Glasses and everything.
Super tight. Cut, like just proper cut.
The two sides of Brian.
Yeah, the holistic health Brian, Latin America, traveling, and more nature, and then the other business suit and tie Brian.
And so you're kind of living it. So you've watched the videos. Now you're living it.
Yeah.
Tell me about expectations versus reality, or I just want to let you cook about some of the observations you've had so far.
Well, there's no perfect place, right? That's one thing that I had to realize myself. And my wife and I were actually talking about this morning, and she was saying that most people would probably look at our life and think oh, they're chasing the grass is always greener. They're always traveling. Maybe they're looking for something else that's better. And what you realize is there is no better. It's all subjective. Every place has its own beauty and its own cons. So Colombia obviously is beautiful, and it also has cons as well, right? For example, if you don't speak Spanish, it's going to be kind of tough for you to navigate, obviously, because everyone here speaks Spanish. You should obviously want to learn the language if you want to move to a country, but that's not a pro or a con. It's just how it is, right? You're going to a different country that speaks a different language. You should probably think about that, right? Another thing here so far in Colombia that I wasn't really prepared for, but also didn't really care about before, but now I do, is the pollution. So it's not as bad as Mexico City. If anyone's listening to this and they've been to Mexico City, for me, Mexico City was the worst. In terms of the food, the people, and the culture, Mexico City was great, but it was a bad experience because the pollution was so terrible. Yeah. And my allergies were through the roof. I was sneezing all the time. My eyes were itchy and watery, and I had migraines. And I was why do I feel like I'm sick right now? The pollution. And here it's pretty bad as well, but it's not as bad as Mexico City. At least here it's livable. I'm not really, I notice my nose gets stuffy a little bit every once in a while, especially when I can look out and I see the sky is just cloudy, and it's not clouds, it's smog. So living in Poblado, for example, you're experiencing that. That's why a lot of people that are Colombians that are more wealthy, they move outside the city, like Rio Negro, Llano Grande. They move to these other places that are cleaner air, less pollution, obviously. So that's a big thing that I wasn't necessarily prepared for this time, but I've noticed immediately because I'm more health conscious about that. So that's a con, that's a down. But thankfully, when it rains, it clears out the pollution. So thankfully, it rains a lot here in Medellín as well. Yeah, I mean, you can tell when you're in the city and you're walking around, although it is walkable and there's hills and everything, you can go everywhere. A lot of the cars, they don't have the filtration systems that they do in the US. So they'll be just, when they floor their gas to go up the hill, it'll just produce all this smog, this black smog, and you have to inhale that. And then boom, that's obviously toxic for the environment as well. So that's annoying. And it's why?
Because Medellin's kind of in a crater almost.
Yeah.
It's you're in a valley.
Yep.
On all sides. And so, Rio Negro and all that stuff is on the top of the crater. It's outside the crater. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're up in the hills. You're outside. Yeah, it's exactly. You would want to be out. That's why everyone goes to Las Palmas or 20 minutes outside the city, which we explored as well. We don't have a car here yet, and we don't really want to get a car. So we're well, living outside the city right now really wouldn't make too much sense because everything that we do is here. So yeah, if we're ready to go out and not be in the city anymore, for sure, we'll live over there, be in nature. And that is our goal.
Find some Pilates in the small town. I'm sure they have it. But. Yeah,
for sure. And that's our goal longer term, 100%, living outside the city, ideally having a farm. That's the dream. That's the part of the reason why I want to get my citizenship as well, to have that option to be able to have a farm here potentially. Right. But yeah, besides that, I mean, so far, we don't really miss Miami. we always say this. We're like, we don't really miss Miami. We're still experiencing this city, and like the life that we have here is amazing. And we don't really miss any place that we lived previously. It's all different. It's all a new experience for us. And obviously we're blessed to be able to work online. I'm blessed to be able to make money online, so I can do this wherever. And we're here right now. We have plans to go to Costa Rica as well. Like we want to see what that's like. That's a totally different life, like a jungle life, obviously. But I also want to experience that. And then we're going to go to Asia for a little bit the rest of this year in Q4. And then we'll figure out where we want to go back from there, probably back to Medellín, obviously to visit my citizenship and my visa. But yeah, I mean, every place we're expecting is going to be different, have its own pros and cons. But yeah, I don't miss Miami. Like I don't miss living in Miami just because it's Miami. Like we have a lot here. There's a huge community here as well. I was really surprised about that. Man, so many like expats and also people that work online in completely different industries as well. Not even in the advertising and online marketing space, like business, finance industry. And they're living here with their family as well because they love Medellin and they've traveled everywhere. A lot of people tell me, like, dude, I've been to Bali, I've been to these places, not like Medellin's, you just can't beat it. And I'm like, wow. Hearing that from them after they've been all these places makes me really consider it. But then I'm like, well, I haven't been to these places yet. So let's go experience that and then we'll see. But yeah, I mean, they're here, they're saying it. You can't really beat Medellin. There's a lot of places that you got Rappi here 24/7. The infrastructure here is beautiful. Like they have, the infrastructure here is insane for Latin America. It's super developed. Like you have everything you can want. You have cold plunge, sauna, spas. You have gyms, beautiful gyms, like nice gyms. Like it's really health focused as well, which I love.
Mm-hmm. I saw you spent Christmas in Colombia. How was that?
Yeah, that was our first Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving in Latin America. And Thanksgiving was amazing. We had a Friendsgiving with a bunch of other friends that were from the States and just friends that live here as well. Full time. It was like 100 people. It was crazy. That was amazing. Christmas was definitely quaint and small. It was, or I should say, close and small. It was like it was very cool because we actually got invited to a friend of mine's Christmas dinner. So we actually got to spend Christmas with more friends, have dinner with other people that also live here full time that aren't necessarily with their families, and got to be a part of their family, right? That was actually at the podcast in the studio that I filmed at. He invited us to Christmas dinner. That was amazing. And then we had New Year's with another friend named Joey, who's from Canada, who's living here with his girlfriend, who's from Colombia, and his family that came from Canada. And so we got to spend time we got invited to different people's celebrations here. And it was just my wife and our daughter. And it was beautiful. Like we didn't feel like we were isolated at all. We were just getting invited to people that had us over. It was great. New Year's was beautiful. The whole city was lit up with fireworks. It was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an amazing experience.
That's cool, man. What advice would you have for people doing this as a young family? Because it's obviously very different than as, like a single guy. You have more responsibility and you have to sort of plan for more stuff. What have you learned or epiphanies along the way?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like you were talking to me earlier before the podcast started, Medellin has two sides, right? Like you could definitely go into the nightlife and partying and all that stuff, but I've never gone out once since I've been here. And I don't want to either. I have no desire. So like, it just depends on what you're looking for. So if you're a newer family, I mean, what to prepare for that's different than being single. Well, obviously, having help, like I've mentioned already plenty of times, having help with your kids is a huge game changer. So hiring a nanny, hiring someone to help you with that part-time would be great. Preparing for that's obviously a big one. Also, the infrastructure here in Medellin as well, especially with the sidewalks. Although I said the infrastructure is really great, it's being worked on, it's being improved, right? But like, there's, navigating with a stroller in the hills of Poblado is definitely a scene in itself. It's hard to do. That could be frustrating.
I have a tip for that.
Yeah, please.
You got to get the strollers with the big bicycle wheels.
Yeah. So we thankfully have that. And even with that, it's like, oh man, if I was somebody else who was doing one of those dinky, like rinky dink strollers, I'd be screwed. So you got to get a good stroller, like you were just saying, of course, with good bicycle wheels that can navigate like off terrain type stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's what you want, and like that's stable.
It's like a running stroller.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. A running stroller, and also just being prepared to like storing your stuff. So for example, right now when we moved from Miami, all of our stuff is in storage still in Miami. We're paying about $300 a month every single month just to have our stuff in storage. But every week that goes by, we're just like, we're probably just going to sell all of it. Like, why are we paying just to have our stuff stored when we're probably not even going to ship it anywhere or use it anytime soon, full time, like while we're traveling right now? So, being prepared, if you just want to travel for a little bit with your kid and your family, right? Put your stuff in storage, and then you probably want to think about selling it like we are, right? It just really depends on your goals. There's so many things that really go into your decision, because our goal is to live here full time in Medellín for at least the next few years. But at the same time, we thought about it. We're like, well, why? Like, she's not in school yet. She's 8 months. She's not going to be in school for a while. And that's even if we put her in school. We're probably going to do homeschooling. We're probably going to do what's called world schooling. And like, that's actually an option now, because there's so many different other communities across the world that are also doing similar things, traveling with families, that we can just be with them in that community for that season of our life and not have to be in one central location. So these are different options you have. And traveling with, again, our daughter isn't really that hard. I mean, yeah, it's annoying in the airport. You have to have the stroller, strip it down, condense it up, pack it up, give it to the air, like make sure it is annoying. It can be, but you get used to it. It's like, especially with more kids, I can imagine it's going to be harder, but at the same time, like, who cares? Just like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I think it's not, it probably, people have this idea that like your life's over when you have a kid or whatever, but what's kind of your experience been? You feel like it's not as big as a deal they made it seem, or?
Dude, I feel like my life's just starting with my daughter, because again, before her, it was my wife and I by ourselves, and we were enjoying life. We were married for 5 years without any kids. We were traveling everywhere, doing whatever we wanted. Like, we were being completely selfish, and we were happy doing that, because it's like, we're enjoying life. And I was also just scaling the business. And now with our daughter, like, our life's just starting, because now we're having to reprioritize what actually matters to us. That's the whole reason why we came here as well. It's like, well, we were chasing all this other stuff externally, materialistic things, like more for the sake of more personally. And then when you get pregnant and when you realize you're going to start a family, which is what we wanted to do when we were 30, by the way, we had this intention to do this. So we were intending on starting a family when we were 30. And then thankfully we did get pregnant. And then we actually started realizing, okay, what actually is important to us? What do we actually value as a family? What do we actually want for our family? And then you start thinking about all the things you're doing and all the time you're spending making money, at least for me. And I was like, I'm going to be slaving away doing all this stuff, but I'm going to be missing her entire life. Like she went from not moving to like crawling at like 5 months. And now she's like picking herself up, and pretty soon she'll be walking. And now she's growing her like top 2 teeth. And we're getting to see all of this in real time. Like all of this in real time. And these are memories and like experiences we'll never be able to get back. So like, my life's just starting because I'm being able to realize that I can actually choose to design my life now in a way that I can still make money online, but I can spend the majority of my time enjoying my life with the money I have with my family, because that's what life's all about, while traveling, while being able to meet people and do podcasts like this, while being able to be a part of different communities and be able to teach my daughter, the values that we have, and not have to put her in school for 8 hours a day in fluorescent lights, like learning from someone who probably doesn't want to be there in the first place. So that's why I say my life's starting, because it's also helping me relearn what it's like to be a kid again, what it's like to actually want to travel, what it's actually like to like be embracing new and new things, and not for the sake of just doing the same thing over and over again. Does that make sense?
It does. It definitely does. I'm just enjoying letting you cook, and it's really interesting and inspiring to hear.
I appreciate that. I'm just a 31-year-old new dad figuring out life just like everybody else. But all I know is, I think that we put too much stress on ourselves. And that's the whole point. It's like, life's good. you can actually just opt out of the system that you're probably in right now if you want. You just have to think about it and then you can do it.
Do you feel like you really opted out though? Because obviously you're still running a business and you're, still money oriented to some extent and all that. Like, I guess what I'm saying is it's not as big of a, burn the boats as people think it is, right? It's not like it's not like, I don't know, you quit everything to surf
Yeah.
bomb or something.
No, no, no. I think like I'm slowly in the process of it, but I'm not fully there yet. And I don't know if I'll ever be like fully like, yeah, disconnected completely, because that's the always the
And
battle, right?
nor maybe would you. This one, like, we can still build businesses remote. We can
Yeah,
still, contribute to technology and humanity and all that stuff.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't think the answer is to opt out either, right? Like then what are you do? Like then what are you actually contributing? Besides initially to your core circle there, obviously in person. It just depends on like what the goal is, right? So for me, my goal is to continue serving and adding value to the marketplace in a way that's actually contributing to something that I believe in, right? While being able to live my life in a way that's designed to not have to be dependent upon the grid if I don't need it. Like for example, I do eventually want to have my own self-sustaining food. Like I do want to be able to be off grid if I want. I think that's going to be the new luxury. Like the new rich to me is going to be disconnected, like being able to be disconnected from technology.
Totally.
I just feel like that's going to be like what people want. We're already seeing this. Like everybody I talk to, especially here in Medellin, like a lot of people come here for those reasons, just like we came here to be more at peace, to have a little bit of a simpler life with more of purchasing power, to raise a family, to be in nature, right? Like everyone's slowly starting to make this shift. Like the fourth turning is happening and people are either going to be more sucked in or they're going to be opting out. And I eventually want to have a farm. I eventually want to have food. I eventually want to be able to have my own water source, to be able to grow my own, food for my own family, to be able to be disconnected. But I don't necessarily want to have just that. Potentially, like I still want to be able to build
Yeah.
online communities as well. So you can do whatever the goal is for you. For me, it's like I want to be able to design it in a way that's self-sustaining long term, to where I can opt out if I want, but it's a choice. It's not like eventually, what happens when, yeah, like, people talk about digital currency, right? So digital currency could be what the Bible predicts is like the mark of the beast. In order to transact with anything in a city, you have to be able to have this implant that says you're good, you can buy this food or whatever. It's like, well, that could be a real thing very soon, a digital currency. So imagine that. Then you would probably want to have to opt. Then you probably want to think about opting out if you have to actually conform to this digital currency that is trackable 24/7 potentially. And I'm just theorizing. Obviously, it's not like it's happening right now, but you can see that actually being a real thing. And then, do you want to be a part of that? That's the question. And so you have to make that choice. And so for me, like I'm on the cusp of like, okay, I make money online. I have my business, but at the same time, I actually don't agree with a lot of things that are happening. And I actually want the opposite. I actually want to be able to disconnect sometimes. So it's finding that balance right now, for me at least.
Hmm. Yeah, for me as, kind of a long-term nomad expat, going on a decade soon, part of me is like, I wonder, I think sometimes about moving back to the US and I'm like, I wonder what I would do. Like, would I go to Florida? Would I go to
Yeah.
California or like rural New Hampshire or something? Like, because I'm like, AI, like it's really like a US thing, it's like, do I want to be a part of that? Do I want to,
Yeah.
or do I want to just kind of do my online thing and obviously you kind of live better outside the US in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's I don't know. There's no right answer.
Yeah. I don't think you have to answer it either. It's like you can do that. You can go to the US for 3 months. You can go to you can go wherever you want. You can go to Asia. You can be wherever you want. And that's the season you're in. I think that's the biggest psyop is like you have to be in one location. Sure, you probably want to
Mm,
be with family and community like that. You should want to be in one place where you have everything, but
mm,
you don't have to be, and that's the choice. Like people have been psyop to believe they have to be you have to have a home, you have to have one central place. I think that's also a big thing too. It's like why, why, who made that the thing, and why is it supposed to make you happy either? Um, Yeah.
Totally. And as we get to wrapping up, just, you did mention community real quick. It's crazy how quick you can actually build a community. If you just start taking boxing lessons, join a soccer team, start playing some sports, maybe go to a co-working space. Like, you can build a community pretty fast.
Man. Yeah. I mean, like I know I have access to everybody and anything now here because I've been here for the last few months, but like, yeah, all it took me was doing a few things, like going out, meeting people, going to work at a coffee shop. Like, you meet people there. You just got to get out and make that a conscious decision as well. Like, I think you move and change locations for that reason too, to go and experience new things and meet new people. So put yourself out there, like, go do things that you're interested in. Thankfully, Medellin's a very, like I said, holistic health city. They have a bunch of access to different things. So naturally the community here is going to be very much focused on health as well. And you can see it in the gyms, like everybody's fit, everybody's healthy. Every Sunday there's ciclovia, they're running, they're walking, they're biking, they're skating. Like, it's just a very beautiful community for that reason. So yeah, you can meet so many people doing anything.
Totally, 100% agree. I hope you keep tweeting a little bit of expat stuff and fourth turning type stuff. I mean, I see your strategy. You just want to sprinkle it in a little bit. It's like 9 out of 10 tweets about ads and your core business, but keep sprinkling it in because it's fun to watch.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to do it again.
Do you want to, tell people where they can find you? Any last message for the audience?
Yeah, I would just say if you guys want to follow more of my story, my journey, or even learn more about how I have the ability to do this, it's just my YouTube channel. You can just search my name, Brian, Brian, Moncada, Moncada on YouTube. My channel has, so many videos documenting from the moment I started it to where I am today. You'll see the transition of everything. And I do my best to talk about, like you said, sprinkle in these things every now and then. It does obviously completely opposite of what I should be talking about business wise, but it is things I'm genuinely interested in. And I talk about a lot of that on my YouTube and on Twitter. So follow me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter. And if you have any questions, just reach out on Instagram as well. Happy to answer any questions if you're thinking about making the move with your family. Again, I'm a new dad, maybe like some of you. I'm figuring it out, and I don't have all the answers, but we can navigate through this together.
Totally. Dude, it's embarrassing, but I literally didn't even know there was a YouTube channel because it's not linked in your Twitter bio.
Oh yeah, I just link it to my main website. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because you have 2 links in your bio and it's just adspend.com twice.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know, but I mean, guys, for the audience, it's got 19,000 subs on YouTube. So definitely subscribe there.
Yeah, 100%.
That's dope, man. I guess that makes sense. You do YouTube ads. It makes sense that you'd have a channel too.
Yeah, exactly. You have to.
Dope. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. You're a sick guy. Hopefully we can meet up in Medellín or somewhere around the world one of these days.
Sounds good, man. Looking forward to it. Let's do it.
All right. So this has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Again, our guest today, Brian Moncada. Adspend.com. Follow him on Twitter and on YouTube. And for the audience, please subscribe to the My Latin Life podcast as well on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to this. We put out 2 episodes a week with amazing guests like Brian, and you won't want to miss an episode. Ciao for now.